Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Affiliate Marketing Academy. Today, we're joined by Manny Ju, who is also part of Maripost, just like Mark was when we did the episode with Mark Gaudet and Kyle on email. Today, we're talking about email a little bit more, but we're talking about how to supercharge your affiliate sales funnel using email. So stay tuned, and I hope you learn a ton. All right. Thanks for joining us, Manny.
Sure thing.
Awesome having you here.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, of course. Super happy to have you here. And I know a little bit about you, but can you tell our audience a little bit about you and what you do in the space?
Sure. I'm a product consultant at Maripost, and I've been a professional email marketer for about 17 years, a little over 17 years, actually. So my role at Maripost is to provide education internally as well as to the clients about email marketing. And I'm also an advisor to the product team, and I give them guidance in the roadmap of the software product for email marketing.
Okay, awesome. Cool. And today, as you guys know, we're talking about how to supercharge your affiliate sales using email. So to start that off, why do you think email is better for an affiliate sales funnel?
Sure.
Compared to paid ads?
Sure thing. And the thing is that I've been asked that a lot, should I use paid ads? Should I use emails? And the answer to your question is yes, you should use both. And
Yeah.
the nice thing is that email is actually a really good complement to what you're already doing in terms of paid ad, right? So you're spending all this money for lead acquisition. And the nice thing about email, though, is that it allows you to keep the conversation going.
Right, yeah.
All right.
Very
Because
true.
like when you think about it, you get all this traffic to your landing page, your sales funnel, and then they bounce, right? I mean,
Yeah.
latest statistics, it's only about what, 2.5% click-through rate.
Mm-hmm.
So you get these guys and the conversion rate maybe about even lower, like 5%, between 10%, right?
Yeah.
So the problem is they bounce from your site, you never see them again. But if during the process you can capture the email address, then you can keep the conversation going with a series of follow-up emails.
Yeah, that makes sense. You can retain them a little bit longer, keep the relationship going, and then, yeah, that's great. Why do you think some affiliate marketers are still struggling to get good ROI with their email?
Yeah, I think the biggest problem is that they think that I've heard this term, like I just blast to my list and just keep sending to it. And the biggest problem is that as an affiliate marketer, you got to realize that it's not a one size fits all type of an email. You got to be really careful about who you're sending the email to. And by that, I mean, there's a model that I developed a couple years back, and I call it the buyer's circles of trust. And it's my take on, right, I mean, the traditional sales funnel or the sales journey, depending upon who you're talking to. And what I mean by the buyer's circles of trust is that you start at the outside and work your way to that inner circle of trust. And the main thing you got to understand is that people have a different level of trust with you. And so in your message of the email, you got to say something differently. I see too many emails that are just basically hard selling and failing to recognize that you've got different people who have a different level of trust. So maybe selling isn't the right message to a particular audience. So there's still ways of demonstrating your value without asking for money every time that you send an email.
Yeah, I think it's definitely very important to add value. And I know segmenting is big, so adding value, segmentation, absolutely.
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you used that magic word, segmentation, right?
Yeah.
Because we're very used to the traditional means of segmentation, like segmentation based on demographics or segmentation based on past purchase history or segmentation based on email engagement. So this is something I want all of you guys listening in to think about how you segment your audience. And once again, going back to the buyer's circles of trust, and that is, how much do people trust me? So for example, if you're really going after people who are at that outer level, who hardly even know you, hardly even trust you, I think you want to segment people who hardly know you. You want to create segment of people who maybe have engaged with you somewhat, but haven't bought from you. You want to segment based on people who have bought from you maybe only one time.
Right.
And
Yeah.
also, of course, people who bought on you repeatedly. So you want to be thinking about segmentation in terms of how much they trust you, because then you can tailor your email message, especially your call to action, based on the different levels of trust they have with you.
Right. And you'll have just better conversions overall.
Yep.
And you mentioned, there should be different calls to action depending upon your audience. What do you mean by that?
Sure. And I'm glad you used the word conversion, because this is another thing that we like to talk about, and that is be rethinking about what do you mean by conversion? Because, in the traditional sense, conversion means they bought something from you, right?
Right.
But also think of conversion in terms of, did I advance them from a lower level of trust to a deeper level of trust? Like, say, for somebody who's just mildly interested in me, maybe my definition of conversion in that case is to move them to a level where maybe they want to engage with me. And by that, I mean, like say, maybe I'm offering free samples, free trials. So maybe that's what it is. Maybe I've gotten people who are kind of interested in me because they follow me on Facebook, or maybe they've downloaded a lead magnet. So now, in my mind, conversion means to get them to use a sample or get them involved in a free trial of my service or of my product. And then, of course, sure. And then once you've got them in your trial, then you start talking about the traditional term of conversion, which is, okay, so now I want to convert them from a free trial or trial, maybe even a paid trial, right? Discount trial, convert them into a paid, and then you want to talk about, then your whole message really is about the benefits of the trial and service. You don't even want to talk about money at all.
Right.
Right. Now, some of the best trial conversion emails I've ever seen are the ones that just focus entirely on the benefits of the trial. Hey, isn't it great that you got this stuff? And what isn't it wonderful?
Yeah.
And then maybe at the last moment it says, in order to continue to receive it, right? Then you either buy a subscription, or if you got the credit card up front, basically the call to action is to do nothing.
Wow.
That's the best, right? Do nothing so that it'll roll over to the subscription.
So there's essentially there's a lot of layers before you should start selling. Just, getting the buyer to trust you, having that conversation. And then once, they start to feel like they trust you, you can start to talk about, hey, you can buy this. Yeah, absolutely. I like that. Definitely a lot of testing with email too.
Yeah,
with your audience.
That's true. That's why there's so many bad emails, right? Because they just try to rush it, and that's just like in any relationship, isn't it? When you try to rush a relationship, you can kind of creep the other person out, right?
Yeah.
Right. So same thing. Yeah, same thing, right? If you try to start selling right away, you're going to turn people off pretty quickly, right? And so that's what we always tell people. Look, take the time to build the trust. Don't worry. You got plenty of time to sell them.
It's true.
You got plenty of time,
just
right?
Gotta have that patience, right?
Yeah. Just, be patient, right? Be cool.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. What are some examples of emails that an affiliate should send depending upon the level of trust, since we're talking about that?
Sure. So I think I touched on those a little bit, where, like, say, naturally you've got people who are unaware of you, and you want to convert them into people who are interested in you. So, so that's where, if you're able to capture the email address, then that's where you're trying to get them to download your lead magnet, right? And so that's where the transaction is. Hey, if I can get your email address, and that's the thing too, is I want marketers should be really thinking about too, is actually place a real value to the email address. Don't always be thinking about money. Sometimes the medium of exchange at the early stages of the relationship is the email address.
Yeah.
Right. Just like, back in the days with, if I can get somebody's telephone number that I met, that's great, And so same thing in business. You're like, hey, if I can get your email address, then that's wonderful, because then I can at least get the conversation going. I can start sending you information that demonstrates the value of my brand, of my product, of my service. So that's really the types of emails there, is that just it's really about promoting yourself, promoting the benefits of what your product is. So you're not really talking about money yet, right? And then when you get to the latter stages, then sure, then you start talking about pricing and things like that. Then, of course, the conversation changes when now you're talking to buyers, because you think about a buyer trusts you a lot more than somebody who's just engaged, because an engager may be benefiting for your service, but they're not paying for it because they don't trust you enough yet, right?
Yeah.
So you're using your product, you're using your service to get them to trust you. So now they trust you enough to give you their money. And then a repeat buyer is even more trust because they trust you enough to keep coming back.
Yeah, and maybe even refer to a friend or someone that they, think could really use that product.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right. And actually, that's a good point too, because the best people that you should be asking for a referral from are your repeat buyers.
Absolutely.
I see a lot of emails asking for referrals after just one transaction. It's like,
really? Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a little quick.
Yeah, right. What do I know about you, right?
Yeah.
But the best emails I've seen are the ones where, okay, maybe it's a subscription, and I've had the subscription long enough to really enjoy the benefits. Okay, now send me an email asking for a referral.
Right. That makes more sense.
Yep.
Again, it's a patience game. You got to take your time with it.
Yeah.
What should affiliates be doing with email that they're currently not doing?
I think that was the main thing is that making sure that your call to action in your email matches the level of trust of the individual that you're selling, right? Never ask for, in your call to action, never ask for a level of trust that's greater than what they're willing to give at that particular stage. You want to be careful, recognize that your content isn't one size fits all, right? And also, there's a couple of things too that you want to be thinking about is how can you use email to extend the life of your sales funnels? I briefly touched on that at the beginning, and that is you should already have good data on at what stage of your funnel did somebody bounce, right?
Yeah.
Typically, it's that first capture. Usually it's your lost lead or your lead magnet at the beginning where you capture the email address. Then you have your one-time offers, right? That's where you have your upsells and things like that. So the key to it is use email to send them back into the funnel, right? You know what stage of the funnel they bounced out of. Maybe they bought your first one-time offer, but not your second.
Right.
Okay, you have that information.
So now you know.
So use email with wording specifically about knowing what they bought, and then send emails specifically about that second one-time offer and direct them back in. So that's one thing that we tell our email marketers is use email to extend the life of your sales funnel. Send them back into it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Use your data too. That's big.
Use your data. Yep.
Yeah. And in your experience, what are some good examples of marketers who are using email to its fullest potential?
Yeah, I think two good, there's a couple of good brands that come to my mind. One of them, like I was talking about, trial conversion email, and SiriusXM was a really good example. Now, these are all examples out of my own email inbox.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So last summer, my wife and I bought a car. And of course, with most cars these days, you get SiriusXM installed for free.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And I think there's like a 90-day trial or something like that. I don't remember. I don't listen to SiriusXM, so I never use the service.
Yeah, me either.
But, but of course, they had my email address. I don't remember how they got it. But yeah. So then I got a series of emails teaching me, so like a product education campaign, right? Teaching me how to use SiriusXM, teaching about all the people who have their podcasts on SiriusXM. And so that was for the first, that was all during the time of the trial. And then just about when the trial subscription was ready to end, then the tone of the emails shifted, right? And so now they're all shifting to conversion, right? Now they want me to extend and start to actually pay for my subscription. So SiriusXM did a really, really good job. Another one is EveryPlate. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. That's a food delivery service.
I've been getting a lot of ads for their service.
Yeah.
Like through Instagram, Facebook, and I've actually been hearing it on some podcasts. So
right. Funny, EveryPlate, Fresh Choice, Yeah, there's I mean, it's amazing how many of these food delivery services have just exploded on the marketplace, right?
It's really trending, yeah.
Yeah. So we tried it out for our son. He turned 20, so he moved out on his own. Now he's used to home cooked meals, but he's never planned a menu in his life, right? He's never planned a recipe, never went grocery shopping, right? He just showed up to eat, right?
Yeah.
So he figured out pretty quickly that he can't keep eating junk food. Number one, he's going to go broke.
Yeah.
Right.
Also,
and secondly,
just bad for you.
Yeah, and secondly, he's just started feeling sick. You know, I mean, it's like, come on now. How many greasy hamburgers can you eat, right?
Right, yeah.
So we signed him up for the service, right? So we took advantage of their trial period, right? So if you sign up, right, and then they'll give you this real discount. So so that's it. They got me in the conversions, right? So they started sending me emails trying to get me to convert to the thing. But this was really cool. They also started sending me upsell emails. Okay, so once again, after we've been using the product, so with these food delivery services, you choose your subscription based on how many servings per meal, right? And how many meals per week do you want, right? So I started off on the bare minimum because, I don't know, maybe he doesn't know how to cook, even though the food's all delivered to his doorstep.
Yeah.
Or maybe he doesn't like the food, right?
Right, yeah. You never know.
Yeah. So turns out he likes it. Okay. So that went on for a couple weeks. Then I started getting these upsell emails, saying, hey, don't you want to start having the meals delivered 5 days a week now? Right. So these upgrading things, right? And also these add-ons. Hey, you can get this little add-on
to add some
your
snacks.
Thing, right?
You want to add another kind of meal? Yeah.
Yep. Then they started doing the referral solicitation emails, right? Knowing that we've used it for a while. Hey, can you refer? And then this was really cool. So they would include a free coupon to give to 5 referrals.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So since I started looking at it from an email marketer's perspective, right? And I thought, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Because through those free coupons, you're already starting off the referrals at that engager level, right? So you just totally bypassed the unaware, totally bypassed the interested, right? You're already at the engager because, hey, you got free food. I mean, you can't turn that down.
Yeah, of course.
Right? And then so that was a brilliant campaign. And then the last one I just want to mention real quick is, I don't know if have you seen those ads on Facebook too from they're foot pads. They're these organic
I don't think so.
Things. Yeah, this really cool. I just saw it show up in my Facebook screen.
Like those socks with grip on the
No, this is interesting. It's a little packet of herbs.
Oh, okay.
With an adhesive backing. And the idea is that you put it on your feet, on the soles of your feet at night, and you allow the herbs to draw the toxins out of your body from your foot.
That's cool. Yeah.
So I thought, sometimes I get achy joints in my toes. So I'm like, give it a try.
Yeah.
So the first time through, I could already tell I was in a sales funnel, right? Because it wasn't just buy the foot pads.
Right.
Okay. So I gave my credit card. I was ready to check out. Then I get the second page. Hey, what about joint pain? So I have the sales page for joint pain.
Oh, wow.
No, thank you. I don't want joint pain. Just no, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, what about weight loss tea? Do you want that? So I realized, I get it. They just stuck me in a sales funnel. Okay. So the nice thing from a marketer's perspective, okay, these are disposable foot pads, obviously. Use them at night, they're done.
Yeah.
So these are replenishable products. So now they start sending me product replenishment emails, right? Saying, hey, don't you want to keep up with this thing? Once again, extolling the benefits, right? So I click on it. Sure, because I say, yeah, sure. Why not? 80% off discount if I reorder today, right? So I click on it, and what does it do? Sends me right back to the exact same sales funnel, right? So this is brilliant. they use social media to acquire me. But now
like
they're
through
using
an
email.
ad?
Yeah, through a
Yeah.
Facebook ad. I just saw it,
Mhm.
right? So
Yeah.
so I came from social
Mm.
media, but now they're using email
To keep it going,
to
yeah.
keep me coming back.
That's awesome.
Right. And not only that, but they send me to the same sales funnel each time. Cause I guarantee you, I feel myself weakening. I think pretty soon I am going to try out their detox weight loss tea, just,
They're getting you.
yeah, just for the heck of it. Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Now I want to check out all those products.
Yeah.
And like subscribe to their emails and see how they reach out to me, like keeping the conversation going.
Yeah, it's really
That's always
fun
cool to see that. Like as a marketer, it's so cool to see companies that do it right. So that's awesome.
It's a lot of fun when you start doing that and looking at it through the lens of an email marketer and say, oh, that's pretty cool what they're doing, right?
That is cool. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that.
Yep.
Is there any other tip that you would give our affiliates for supercharging their email sales funnels?
Yeah, I think that was the main thing, is that think about, I mentioned conversions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is, think about emails to convert from one level of trust to a next level of trust. And so also too is, and I'm going to get a little bit more technical here in terms of email, and make sure you're using a email service provider like MirrorPost, shameless marketing plug, but like MirrorPost, that supports the email authentication standards. I'm amazed how many marketers that I talk to that aren't even aware of the email authentication standards that are used. So I'm going to throw some alphabets at you guys. So you've got SPF and you've got DKIM, also pronounced, they just call it DKIM. Mm-hmm. So basically, these are authentication standards that help mailbox providers verify that whatever email service provider you're using has your permission to send emails on your behalf. Right? A lot of email marketers forget this step, or they're using a platform that doesn't support it. By all means, you should use a platform that does support it, and if they do, make sure you're taking advantage of it. Well, why do you want to do that? Well, it's because, look, if you're spending all this time and money to send emails, you want to make sure that the mailbox providers who are receiving your emails are aware that your email service provider has your permission to send the emails on your behalf. Because the problem is that if they don't, then there's a very, very high probability your emails will be routed to spam folder.
Oh, that makes sense.
And so you've just wasted your time and your money, right? Because and also as an affiliate marketer, you're getting paid per conversion. So you've wasted all this money for emails going to the spam folder, when in fact, these are just simple things that you can do to get the email into the inbox. And on that light, don't be cute. Don't try to use these email from addresses that don't have a real website to them, because mailbox providers are getting really, really, really good at finding out who's a fake mailer and who's legit. So whatever email address that you use in your from email, make sure there's a real website behind it, okay? And don't just spin up a website just so that you can have a website behind it, right? One of the things that they'll do is, if your website is only 30 days old, less than 60 days old, that's a red flag, because that's what fake mailers do.
Same with Facebook ads and like your Facebook account being, just like a few days old.
There you go.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly the same thing, right? Because they're on the lookout of those things. So therefore, a lot of times when I talk to marketers, affiliate marketers who are just starting out, right? Because they're getting in on the bandwagon, right? So the first thing I tell them is that, make sure you got a website up first, right? Because if you don't have a legitimate website, and if you don't have any traffic, or if it's just brand new, chances are your emails are not going to be accepted. And if they are, they're going to go to the spam folder because mailbox providers don't trust you yet, right? So those are some key things too, as far as take away from a more technical side.
Yeah, that's a good tip. I honestly didn't know people were using fake websites or fake email addresses to route back. I had no idea. That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely where you should start, having a real website, build it up for a bit and then go from there. But I feel like a lot of people have not a lot of patience these days, so they just want to get right into it. That's the problem, but
Yeah. No, that's the thing. That's really more advice to the newbie, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
To the affiliate marketer who's just getting involved, just learning about Digistore24. Just say, hey, I just want residual income, right? So you go to the Digistore24, find an offer, and say, hey, that's great, right? And the last thing I just want to say is, you probably want to get email addresses the right way, the legitimate way, right? Don't rent. I know that I've heard people say that a lot. Oh, hey, just rent a list of email addresses. That's an urban legend and that's a myth, because if you use a rented list of email addresses, 9 times out of 10, you are in violation of your email service provider's terms of use, right? So make sure you capture email addresses the right way.
Yeah, great point too. I've heard of people doing this in the past and it just blows my mind. Yeah. Because those people never consented to that, and they're going to instantly say this is spam, and it's just going to be just awful for everyone. So
yeah, absolutely. That's a good point, because that's like when I'm talking to affiliate marketers, and they're telling me, oh, I'm having all these problems, and if I hear the words burn my list, because I've heard that a lot. Yeah, just burn my list, right? So that tells me, okay, I'll bet you're using a rented list, aren't you? Right?
Yeah, right. Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. But hey, thank you so much, Manny. Really enjoyed today's conversation about email.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for inviting me.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's it, you guys. I hope you got a ton out of this episode. I know I did. I learned so much from Manny. It kind of just added on to all the things that we talked about with email with Mark and Kyle. Just added on more tips and tricks, examples, emphasize that email is really important, and patience and using your data, all of that. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and join us next month. See you then.